Hey, what's going on, guys? The Horror Man back with the next review of the Terror in the Isles challenge. This time, Jason and I watched Dracula. Listen to them, the children of the night. What sad music they make. Dracula is a 1979 horror film starring Frank Langella as the title character, Count Dracula. It also stars Laurence Olivier as Dr. Abraham Van Helsing and Donald Pleasance as Dr. Jack Seward. This is now the third movie in a row featured in Terror in the Isles that Jason and I have reviewed, starring Donald Pleasance. And as you know, he was also one of the hosts of Terror in the Isles. I want to get this out of the way. This 1979 version of Dracula has always been one of, if not my favorite adaptation. It's definitely my wife's as well. It's just so moody and atmospheric, and a lot of that has to do with the washed out colors of the print. This movie is lost somewhere between black and white and color. As a matter of fact, the director initially intended for it to be a black and white film, but the studio insisted that it be colorized. Now, like I said, because of the washed out colors, it's sort of a hybrid of the two. After, let's just call them some atrocities at sea, Count Dracula is found ashore by the ailing Mina Van Helsing. In her sickly condition, Mina has been staying with her friend Lucy and Lucy's father, Dr. Jack Seward. Dr. Seward has been caring for Mina, and he also runs the local asylum. It seems that everyone else aboard the ship transporting Count Dracula from Transylvania to England has died. It's a grotesque scene, as their throats have been torn out. Or bitten. Upon the arrival of Count Dracula, solicitor Jonathan Harker has also arrived. He and Lucy Seward have been carrying on a relationship. He was also the one to find a castle for the Count. Soon after meeting Mina Van Helsing, Count Dracula takes a special interest in her. And not long after that, her condition worsens, and she dies. When Lucy finds her, she calls for her father. With a quick examination, Dr. Jack finds bite marks on Mina's neck. He then places a call to Mina's father, Dr. Abraham Van Helsing. Dr. Jack informs him of his daughter's passing. Dr. Van Helsing promptly arrives. Mina is put to rest, but sure enough will rise from the grave. She too is Nosferatu, not dead. She's trapped between the living and the deceased, a creature of the night, like Count Dracula. The Count proclaims himself the king of his kind, and next takes an interest in Lucy Seward. Jonathan Harker is, of course, not pleased with all of the time Lucy is spending with the Count. Meanwhile, Dr. Van Helsing starts putting the pieces together. He realizes that Count Dracula is a vampire. You all know the story of Dracula, so I'll leave it at that. What I'd like to comment on again, though, is the atmosphere of this movie. It's incredible. The moodiness of this movie is what has always made it a favorite of mine. I also really like Frank Langella as Dracula. It's sort of ironic, an Italian actor playing the Count who cannot be near garlic. This is specifically portrayed in the film as well, when Dr. Abraham Van Helsing holds garlic up to the Count. Laurence Olivier is fantastic as Van Helsing, and he was actually very sick in real life while filming this movie. He was so sick, in fact, they weren't sure he was going to make it through the filming. Fortunately, he went on to live another 10 years after. What's even more ironic is that it was a blood disease that affected him. A blood disease ailing an actor in a Dracula film. Go figure. Donald Pleasance is amazing as always, as Dr. Jack Seward. Jason pointed it out to me, and then I couldn't unsee it. He's always stuffing his face. In almost every scene, Dr. Jack is eating something. It's funny. Dracula's castle in this film is probably the best version of Dracula's castle in anything. It's almost miraculous to look at. I love it so much. There's a scene at one point from above a giant spider web in the castle with a spider crawling on it. The camera's point of view is sort of from the ceiling of the castle, looking down on the web. It's such a beautiful shot, and again, makes it so atmospheric. The movie is stylish without being polished, if that makes sense. It's dreary and drab and gorgeous. The cemetery scenes are also great, and I love when Dr. Van Helsing and Dr. Seward are in the mine shaft. Another thing I've always loved about this adaptation of Dracula is the ending of the film. It was left open for a sequel, which unfortunately never happened. It's funny that this version was featured in Terror in the Isles, but not the original Lugosi version. Dracula 1979 probably is my favorite adaptation of Dracula. And one of my other personal favorite Dracula adaptations is Blood for Dracula. Blood for Dracula, also known as Andy Warhol's Dracula, was released in 1974. And I actually reviewed this movie earlier this year as part of a double review with Flesh for Frankenstein. I will link that review on the end screen of this video, so you can hear my thoughts about this one. I already recommended Flesh for Frankenstein during this challenge, so I felt I needed to recommend Blood for Dracula as well. But have you seen the 1979 version of Dracula? If so, what do you think of it? Comment below and let me know. And please be sure to check out Jason's review. Listen to us as we review another movie featured in Terror in the Isles soon. Until then, thanks for watching, guys. Hit that thumbs up and be kind, subscribe.